A very good evening to you. My name is Omotayo Alo and welcome to the news at 7. Member of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, has been declared as the sole candidate of the APC for the speakership position. He was elected and nominated for Speaker of the House of Representatives from the stable of APC, Nigeria's ruling party. Gbajabiamila scored 154 votes, while his challenger Yakub Dogara, who stormed out of the venue of the election before voting commenced, scored 3 votes. However, Dogara has rejected the polling result. 4 votes were declared invalid by the returning officer, the National Vice Chairman Northeast, Babacha Lawan. Dogara said Gbajabiamila's election was unconstitutional and in a statement rejected the voting result. However, the 8th Assembly will converge on Tuesday next week to choose a candidate for the speakership position. I beg your pardon. A group of federal lawmakers elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress have stormed out of a meeting called by the leadership of the party. They claim they had to leave the venue on realizing that the party wanted to compel incoming members of the House of Representatives to adopt a particular candidate for the position of Speaker rather than the peace meeting they were invited for. Abdul Mumini Jibrin insisted that they are not a party to the ongoing voting, which he maintained was not in the party's constitution. He argued that there is no provision for primaries for the office of the Speaker in the APC constitution. He called on the party to do the right thing by allowing members to choose their leaders on the floor of the House on Tuesday as stipulated by the law. Earlier, APC spokesman Lai Mohammed has said 173 All Progressive Congress House of Assembly members elect have signed an undertaking to abide by the party's choice as the Speaker of the 8th House of Representatives. Mohammed, who spoke off camera, had noted that the party was working hard to avoid a looming crisis over the leadership of the 2 chambers of the National Assembly. He maintained that the lawmakers are set to vote for the candidates of their choice before the actual voting, which will take place at the complex on Tuesday next week. The aim of the election, according to him, is to present sole candidates for the position of Senate President and Speaker of the House of Representatives. And barely 4 days after the fire disaster involving a fuel tanker destroyed property worth millions of naira at the Yanokpaja area of Lagos State, another fire incident caused by a fuel tanker occurred in the Idimo area, and according to residents of the area, the extent of damage caused by the incident is colossal. The fire is said to have started around 12 a.m. Our correspondent Abiola Oluwole has the rest of the story, and his report was presented from our studios. Just few days after a tanker conveying fuel skewed off the road in Iyanopaja, destroying property worth millions of naira, residents of Idimo in the same Alimosha local government were caught unawares by another fire incident caused by a petrol-laden tanker. 34 houses and 70 shops were razed in the inferno. According to the Director, Lagos State Fire Service, Razak Fadipe, and the Lagos Sector Commander of Federal Road Safety Corps, Ignos Omeje, the incident was caused by recklessness of the tanker driver.
So it is very important the owner of this vehicle should ensure that they engage the service or drivers that can read and understand road signals. How can the driver be on the speed when you are negotiating a bend? Also, drivers that wants to drive at night, that's the law of the state, traffic rules of the state, that, and it's just because to avoid this kind of incident or accident. That's why they said they should be driving at night. Drivers that want to drive at night must ensure that in the morning that he rests, and in the afternoon he rests.
From the information I had, the tanker, there was also another tipper that was involved, but it's like in the context of the road, the tipper was able to maneuver his way, outsmarted him. Again, this man has already lost control and crashed here.
I want to advise the public, those who are here, to ensure
they maintain the cordon of area, especially for buildings that are burnt, so that we don't have a secondary emergency.
Victims of the inferno decry the lawlessness of the tanker driver. They called on government for assistance to bail them out of the trauma caused by the disaster.
Nobody can say either it's diesel or petrol or kerosene. But when it got out from the trailer, so as we were running down this way, the suya, it got engulfed through the suya cellar there. So almost 80 shops got burnt.
Just around 2 a.m., I was hearing call that my brother's shop is on fire. So I came down. So when I came here was helpless, nobody. So just about a couple of minutes, then the fire service came.
After moving round the affected areas, Governor Akinwumi Ambode promised succor for those affected and directed that relevant agencies work to enumerate victims of the inferno.
I commiserate with all the people here. I'm appealing for them for calm. We've also said we'll do immediate relief, and we should take enumeration and see in what way we can address this issue.
While the emergency workers and residents point accusing fingers at the recklessness of tanker drivers, articulating a reasonable approach in transporting inflammable substances across the country remains an issue begging for urgent intervention by the appropriate authorities. Meanwhile, the senator-elect for Lagos West Senatorial District, Solomon Adiola, extended his commiseration to his constituents on yet another petrol tanker accident at Idimu, where about 40 houses were burnt and property worth millions of naira destroyed. This is the second accident in less than a week following the petrol tanker accident at Iyanokwaja Bridge axis, where properties and residential buildings were lost to the ensuing inferno. The senator-elect, who is the outgoing representative of Alimosho Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, said the reoccurrence of these accidents requires government at all levels to take a holistic look at the mode of transportation of highly inflammable material through densely populated areas. He also wants government to consider a compensatory system through insurance where such incidents occur. The senator-elect, however, noted relevant regulatory agencies need to come up with policies on the control and maintenance of articulated vehicles carrying inflammable materials, especially as the accidents could be traced to lack of maintenance as well as their hours of operation in densely populated areas. The government of President Muhammad Buhari has been charged to give priority to security to save Nigeria's educational sector. Speaking at Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka and all the university dons advised the new administration to chart a new approach to tackling insurgency, which they believe will in turn restore the interest for the education in the Northeast. This, they say, is pertinent for the new government in fulfilling its electoral promises. Citing the abduction of the Chibok girls, Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka says insecurity is threatening the little left of the Nigerian educational system, warning that with Boko Haram still on rampage, the temple of learning may collapse. For his part, the Chancellor of Kwara State University, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, the Buhari administration will have no excuse to deliver on its electoral promises. We'll bring you more details in a subsequent bulletin. We'll take a break now and we'll come back with more stories. Do well to stay tuned.
It is often said that the future belongs to those who are inspired to dream. Dreams of a future where we're more than able to move the entire world.
Mom, one day I'm gonna be a superstar performer.
Yes, one day.
Rich and creamy peak, extra fortified with 28 vitamins and minerals. Here's to 60 years of nourishing dreams and inspiring the future. The future is bright. Reach for your peak.
The 5th Ekiti House of Assembly is inaugurated by Governor Ayo Fayose, however, did not come without a drama as the governor, proud to the inauguration, danced around Ado-Ekiti in what he tagged victory rally, apparently over his escape from the impeachment move constituted against him by the 19 APC lawmakers. The governor and the newly constituted House promised to work for the development of Ekiti. Rashid has more.
The inauguration of the 5th Assembly in Ekiti State definitely put paid to the running battle between Ayo Fayose and the 19 APC lawmakers. For Fayose, it's time to be happy for escaping what looked a certain impeachment. In his usual way, the governor held a victory rally around the streets of Ado-Ekiti before heading to the House of Assembly complex to inaugurate the 5th Assembly. The inauguration was witnessed by the creme de la creme in the state, with the outgoing 19 APC lawmakers conspicuously absent. Kola Oluwawole of Maba Constituency 1 emerged as the new speaker with other principal officers. The governor in his speech talked about the running battles he had with the outgone legislature, admonishing the newly inaugurated to cooperate with the executive.
I defeated consensus. I won on election. Again, I won in all the courts. The lower court, the appeal, the Supreme Court. Today, I defeated impeachment. I will sentence impeachment to death by the inauguration of this brand new assembly. I want you to be diligent. We must not disappoint the people.
The new speaker, Kola Oluwawole, says he will be loyal to the Ayo Fayose-led government and will work to ensure maximum cooperation from the 5th Assembly.
With the 5th Ekiti Assembly now led grossly by the People's Democratic Party, it is expected that the peace which is being looked for in the political sphere of Ekiti State will now be guaranteed, now that the PDP controls the executive and the legislative arm of the government. What next, as far as Ekiti politics is concerned, will only be as a result of how vibrant the 5th Assembly of the Ekiti State House of Assembly will be. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
The Imo State Police Command has once again arrested suspected criminals as part of its continuing effort aimed at ridding the state of crimes. Our correspondent, Ajibade Awofeso, who was at the press briefing addressed by the State Police Command in Owerri State Capital, has more in this report.
The State Commissioner of Police, Austin Ivaka Vokum, while speaking on the arrested suspect, says the command has introduced new methods of community watch and policing, which has greatly enhanced its rate of arrest and recent success recorded against criminals in the state.
Yes, like I always say, like the Inspector of Police has said, that modern policing should be community-based. That's what we are doing. And that partnership, complete partnership in policing, is what we have been doing since I came, and it's an easier dividends. So some of the dividends in complete policing is what I want to let you go know.
The Commissioner of Police, while reading out the command strikes against criminals in the state, added that the issue of kidnap of a journalist also got the required attention with her release. He said though her car is yet to be released by her kidnappers, the command will continue to work hard to stop criminality in the state.
So, gentlemen, this has been our scorecard during the period under review. We are not relenting, and we also want people to partner with us very well. The police and the press, they are partners in progress. So we should work together, give us information, and let the people of Igbo sleep with their eyes closed.
But what really caught the eye is the case of these two young men who said they were compelled to kidnap two children of same parent. Why are you crying? What happened? Why are you crying? Say, what are you saying?
Okay, the thing where they make cry. No wonder I forced them forced me.
Who forced you?
Emeka forced me.
Who be Emeka?
The person who sent us to carry Pikin for up.
To carry Pikin? Yeah. How old Pikin are carry?
Nah, 3, 4 years.
3, 4 years. How many of them are carry?
Yeah.
How many of the Pikin are carry?
The Pikin will die.
He forced you not to go carry him?
He forced me because he gave me machines. And the thing will make me do it. Because I don't have something to eat. I don't have mama, no help. And then you can't force me. And if I give him that machine, I don't have something again to eat.
Because he make you go help and carry Pikin come.
He forced me. He said, I have to know grandma, give him that machine. And he made them.
So now the two of them are go, you and this person?
Yes.
Where they make her they know?
I don't know the place.
They were later taken away to appear in court soon after the conclusion of the investigation by the police. Ajibade Awofeso, CoreTV News, Owerri.
As the 7th National Assembly came to an end, members of the House of Representatives have continued to share their experiences in the last 4 years. Some see the entire 4 years spent as worthwhile, while others register their disappointment in some key area of legislation. Outgoing federal lawmakers also spoke on their expectations from the 8th Assembly in relation to speedy passage of bills. Pius Samuel reports.
The 7th Assembly was inaugurated on June 5, 2011. And this hollowed chamber has 360 members representing different federal constituencies across the country. Some outgoing members have spent a minimum of 4 years. But after 4 years, some of these people will cease to be members of the legislature. Many of them are convinced that the 7th National Assembly was a success.
We have amended our laws to say that whatever we finish to do, the incoming house, they do not have to go from, begin again. They can continue.
Actually, what I think we should have done as a 7th Assembly was to ensure that the constitutional amendment that we set out to do, which was, I think, one of the greatest agenda we had, or the greatest bill, the most important thing we should have done as a parliament. And we did not really conclude it.
The long-awaited petroleum industry bill was passed by the House on the last day of the sitting. But since the Senate could not concur, the bill could be said to have not been passed. This lawmaker say she is disappointed with the 7th Assembly for the slow pace in passing bills. Omidiran, however, hoped the incoming lawmakers will fare better.
I am highly disappointed that we were not able to pass the PIB bill, though we tried very, very much. We did what we could, and at the end of the day, we even tried. Up till yesterday, we were still considering the bill, but we had a lot of issues, ethnic, party, religion, and all sorts of mundane things.
Other lawmakers have different views on the performance of the outgoing legislature.
The recurring decimal as far as the legislature is concerned, there were new members, but eventually, people who started out as colleagues become brothers, friends, brothers, and some of the high points were, of course, when we were called back. We broke all protocols and we came back on a Sunday.
I do not think I'm addressing our colleagues. I will only congratulate members of the 7th Assembly for a wonderful job done. Thank God for his mercies and thank God for his blessings. And urge us to remain tenacious, because for me, I'm very confident that the task of nation building is a continuous one. And I pray that Almighty God will continue to grant us the enablement to be contributing positively to the growth and development of our nation.
For now, the 7th Assembly has ended, and as the 8th Assembly prepares to resume, Nigerians expect better legislation. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The Senate insists that it did not break any law by passing 46 bills in one single day. It argued that the same procedure it relied on was used the following day by the House of Representatives to pass 15 bills earlier passed by the Senate. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Rules and Business, Ita Eyang, said this at a news conference at the National Assembly complex.
When we got to a limited legislative time, we had to meet with the Senate, with the House of Representatives, and agree on the same procedure on the basis of legislative reciprocity. And the procedure was, since you had considered the first reading of the bills, second reading of the bills, third reading of the bills, considered them in committee of whole, they were all gazetted and published, you did public hearing, and considered all, let us take and adopt your bills in a summary process, and you accept and adopt our bills in the same manner. Therefore, we are not, and we were not wrong in what we adopted. The Constitution says that we shall consider and pass bills. It is we, the legislators, who have set for ourselves the standing orders, saying that bills shall receive 3 readings on 3 different days, unless the Rules and Business Committee and the resolution of House so direct.
We take another break now, and when we come back, we'll take some entertainment story and, of course, a story outside Nigeria. Stay tuned, please.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
A road accident involving the car belonging to Nigerian hip-hop act Oluwabukomi Olatunde, also known as Jobless, generated panic, but fans have been assured that the artist is ill and hearty. According to a statement released by a Jobless spokesperson, the artist rode in a friend's car, whereas his car was driven by his manager, Damola Adetunji. The accident happened when the car crashed into a stationary truck laden with granite on Adiola Odeku Street, Victoria Island, Lagos. Jobless, who recently released the track 69 Missed Calls, has expressed gratitude to God for sparing his life and called on fans and well-wishers to pray for Damola's speedy recovery. And on the foreign scene, Chinese authorities say the death toll from the Chinese ferry disaster now stands at 396 as emergency workers search the vessel in the Yangtze River. The tragedy looks set to be China's worst shipping disaster in more than 60 years of communist rule. More than 350 people remain unaccounted for after a cruise ship capsized in China's Yangtze River on Monday, and it is still unclear what caused the tragedy. The boat was carrying 405 passengers, mostly elderly tourists, as well as 5 travel agency employees and 46 crew members. One survivor said the ship capsized incredibly fast, while another said it happened within a minute. The captain Zhang Shenwen and chief engineer Yang Zonghua were among the survivors. Both reportedly said the vessel was caught in a freak storm, and one passenger described it as tilting as a 45-degree angle before going down. This was backed up by meteorologists in China who confirmed that a sudden, strong and violent storm hit the area at the time of the incident. And that's all we have for now. When we come back, on our subsequent bulletins, we bring you details and more stories. Do well to stay tuned. My name remains Omotayo Alo.